Today I fucked up by speaking Finnish at work. I work part-time as a security officer here in the United States while I am getting all my flight school training done. Earlier today in the morning, I was walking around and started chatting with a friend in another department, and the conversation drifted from us being Russian speakers, to me having lived in Riga, Latvia for a few months while on an internship abroad, and to having visited Helsinki, Finland for a week during said internship. I was telling her, and her 3 co-workers who sat around and were joining the conversation, all about how awesome the Finnish people were. Shout out to any Finns here. Finland. I told them about where I stayed in the Leppäsilta area near Helsinki and about how nice many of the people were. I also talked about how different their language sounded, especially for myself and my friend as Russian speakers. While I was there, a local taught me, "Hey, how are you?" which in Finnish is, "Hey, mitä kuuluu?" "Hey, mitä kuuluu?" This is where I messed up. Apparently, this sounds incredibly close to a slur, profanity, despicable words in Spanish. One of my friend's co-workers, let's call her Maria, doesn't speak English well, Spanish being her primary language. Maria became incredibly offended. Another of her co-workers who was bilingual said I shouldn't be saying things like that, especially at work, and that I had offended Maria. I stated that I had been speaking Finnish, and I tried to smooth things over, but they all stopped talking to me, now that everything was super awkward. They wouldn't even explain what I had supposedly said in Spanish. Fast forward to 20 minutes ago and I get a text from my boss that I apparently have an HR meeting with him, this other department's manager, and HR itself because, unknown people, reported me for saying Spanish slurs to other employees. My manager said I could explain everything Monday. I am upset. I don't speak Spanish, and I don't claim to. In the context of the conversation, I was speaking Finnish and I wasn't even talking to the individual who got offended, and now I am in trouble. My friend texted me back and said she will corroborate my story. I am just scared it won't be enough for my boss, HR. Too long did not read. A phrase in Finnish sounds like a bad word in Spanish, which got me reported to HR. Edit. Apparently, kuulu in the Finnish greeting here may sound like a vulgar, or not so vulgar, simple curse, of kuulo, which means ass. Apparently for some, it means a literal asshole, as in, a hole in a bum. Spanish speakers permeate our world, and since the Spanish world is so vast, in some places it is really not something that is considered profane at all, and in other places it appears that it is more, oh, don't use that at work, but still not HR worthy. Edit 2. There seems to be some confusion about ME, personally, that I want to clear up as I sit here in my shared security office at work. There are some concerns that I am being discriminated against, but I wanted to put those fears to rest. I am not a Finn, and I am not a Russian. I am an American of Danish, French, and German descent. I speak Russian from having lived in Russia for 2 years and then studying it in university. My internship that my friend and I were talking about was through that schooling, and it involved me working in Riga, Latvia as a translator of a book from Russian to English. During my tenure there of about 3 months, I was able to visit the other Baltic nations, Finland included, Poland, Germany, Italy, and Sweden. I appreciate you all. I am going to get some water and then I will go to the conference room. Wish me luck. Edit 3. The meeting. I just got home from my meeting and started typing this and it took me about an hour. I work weekend days, so to answer a question I got, yes, I had to go to this meeting on my day off. After I got some water earlier, I saw my boss and he made sure that I had clocked in, as we are always paid for company meetings. I told him I had and I went into the conference room in my office and my manager followed me in and shut the door behind us. I found that there were 2 women from HR there, the manager for, Maria, this is important for the story, but the other manager is Hispanic, my manager who is my boss, and my direct supervisor, who is an ass. I wish he wasn't there. When I sat down, the HR reps introduced themselves and told me that the reason they were there is because they had some troubling concerns about me using inappropriate and sexually charged language at work. I was then immediately confused, and I asked them to explain the reason for the meeting. They told me that I had been reported by multiple people on Sunday for having sexually harassed individuals in Spanish. I really shouldn't have, but I laughed out loud. This is utter bullshit. I have no idea why anyone would even remotely think that. I asked them to explain what they meant by that, considering that I do not speak Spanish. In another display of malarkey, they deflected my question and asked me about the incident, which occurred yesterday, on Sunday. I told her I was on patrol as normal, and I went over to this department to make sure everyone was doing well. I stated that I ran into my friend, and we were talking about some international experience I had had while on an internship. I explained that I had lived in Eastern Europe on this internship for 6 months, and that I am a fluent Russian speaker, and that this should be on record. Saying this, I motioned to my manager, who nodded almost yep, that's true, kinda nod. I explained that I had enjoyed my time there, and that I had learned some phrases, one of which was, "Hi, how are you?" I took someone's advice here, and I wrote it down on an index card I had at home, to show them what I said. I informed them that they could use Google Translate, that they could ask anyone from Finland or anyone who spoke the language that what I was saying was true. I finished by saying that I failed to understand how anyone could take anything that I had been saying as sexual harassment. I also underscored the fact that the only 2 people I had spoken to in that department that morning was my friend, and Sylvia, the bilingual Spanish-English speaker who told me I had offended Maria, in the story above. The HR reps looked at each other, and then to Maria's manager, who looked over at me and said, "Well, the story that we heard as you said," and she proceeded to speak in Spanish. I just kinda stared at her, and I asked, "Is that supposed to mean something to me? I already told you that I don't speak Spanish. How could I have said any of that?" One of the HR reps turned to me saying, "So you do not speak Spanish?" Reddit, at this point I gotta be honest. I about lost my patience, and I am super glad my manager spoke up because he just kinda looked at them and said, "Does he need to reiterate? He doesn't speak Spanish. My officer doesn't speak Spanish, nor has it ever come up that he does. I have officers who speak Spanish, documented on their files. You, Cavalier Rig is not one of them. Whatever he is being accused of, are your claims that he spoke fluent Spanish with someone? Because that isn't feasible." One of the HR reps stated that a complaint they received on Sunday stated that I had made sexually explicit remarks in Spanish to an employee during that time, and that it was witnessed by 3 other people, and they stated that while my friend was present during that conversation, they refused to say who had made these claims. I found out that they had contacted my friend earlier, who according to what HR was saying, kinda sounds like she said the same thing that I said. The HR representative that hadn't spoken yet looked over at me and she said, "Hey you, Cavalier Rig, would you mind stepping out for a moment? We just need to confirm some information. I will come get you in a few minutes, okay?" I said okay, I got up, and I walked out of the room. About 20 minutes later, I was invited back into the meeting room and, I am gonna say it, Maria's manager did not look happy to see me. I was told that it appeared that there was a miscommunication in what was reported to management. I took the time to express that I was, as a person, very hurt by the proceedings and that I, frankly, felt targeted because I speak Russian and, in this instance, Finnish, which I learned on Reddit isn't the official name of the language, till. The HR representative that had asked me to step out apologized for that and made it clear that my company was devoted to diversity and that I was free to speak any language I liked. I thanked her, but I told her that I was now, frankly, afraid of speaking anything but English for fear that I will be purposefully misquoted or misrepresented. I asked them if I was going to be punished, and if so, what it was going to entail. My manager looked over at me and he said no, but for the foreseeable future, I was authorized to not complete my patrol over there in that department. I asked if I should stop texting my friend privately, and they said that, whatever I did not on company time was my own business. She has not, to our knowledge, asked you to not talk to her, right? I said no, and I said that she was actually the one who helped me calm down last night as I was anxious about this meeting. Then it got quiet. My manager kinda tapped his hands on the desk and said, "Well, we are done here, Cav, you can go now." I said, "Thank you, sir, I hope you all have a good day." And I got up, punched out, and left. In all it took about an hour and some change for the meeting to be done for me. There was more cross-talking but I feel really uncomfortable. I am glad my manager said I was able to steer clear of that area. Barring an emergency, of course. But now I just kinda, yeah. This whole experience has sucked, and to be honest with you all, I think I am done talking to my friend over there just to be safe. I think it sucks ass, but I don't know who accused me of what or why. Reddit, there are some serious scumbags out there, but I promise this situation is as I laid it out, and I swear I did no such thing that I was accused of. It sucks, but until I am ready to transition to being a pilot as a job and I get insurance and benefits for my wife and I, this is what I have to do to survive. I'm going to talk to my wife when she gets home and tell her what I told you all. We were actually supposed to go to lunch on Thursday with my work friend and her boyfriend, but I think it's best my wife and I cut ties with them, at least for now. This whole thing has been rather heartbreaking, but I was able to get out of it relatively unscathed. I just gotta treat my job as a job, not say more than I need to, and just kinda keep moving until one day I am free of there. Thanks again. Maria sounds like a real bitch. Some people just want to be offended, I guess. Just curious where this happened. I live in El Paso. There is a religious group here named Cool Arrows. I don't know anything about the group, but all the Hispanic residents here keep rising a hue and cry about how it sounds like a in Spanish and the group should all be jailed. Honestly, I noticed that some of the Hispanic community here spends their time trying to create such misunderstandings and stirring up trouble. I speak some Chinese and was trying to practice with one of my in-laws in a China buffet, and a group of Hispanic women went to the manager complaining I was insulting them in Spanish. He threw us out. We weren't even talking to them. If your HR department is worth a damn, this will be quickly dismissed as a misunderstanding. Basically just tell them what you said here. I'm sorry you're dealing with the stress of this situation. Don't let them bully you. You have the right to speak Finnish just as much as they have the right to speak Spanish. If they mishear something, that is their problem. Today I fucked up by sending a camgirl money, $1,000, for a few skimpy photos. So I'm pretty new to the whole camgirl scene, frankly. It's just through Tinder and other dating apps that I've encountered them in the wild. I matched with a girl last week on Tinder, and she specifically requested to talk through Instagram. I complied, thinking whatever, it can't hurt. She has about 5 posts on Insta, all of her in some sort of cosplay or another. She's cute. We started chatting and it didn't go much of anywhere. Her English wasn't very good, and she didn't have much to add to the conversation. Mostly just asking me one-off questions here and there. She tells me she lives in the same city as me, and that she's looking for love before she moves back to LA next week. I sent her a text last night asking her what she was up to for the evening, not expecting much a response. She was ready for me. She said that if I agreed to her terms, we could hang out. She alludes to us meeting up, sleeping together, and tells me to bring a couple condoms and we'll have sex. It's after I sent her $100 that she says she's booking a private room for us on her secure, private site. She asks me which room I want, and I say, room 12 inches after I send the $100. She tells me to wait, then comes back saying, unfortunately that room is taken and the only one available is room 69, which is special and requires $500 to book. At this point I'm completely flabbergasted and annoyed. I never wanted to see her room anyways. I was only interested in meeting up. I call her and hear her voice through Instagram, very Eastern European sounding, with a thick accent. She continues to press that, I'm not a bad person, Jesus Christ, and that she can give me a refund for all the money spent to book the room, and she'll give it to me cash when we meet up. The whole thing is just very odd to me, and reeks of bullshit. But upon her reassurance she'd give me a refund, I relent and send the $500 after all. She tells me there's something wrong with the site and she can't open the room after all. So all of that money for nothing. She then offers to let me book her for the night, and gives me rates. $280 for 3 hours or $500 for overnight. Again, I'm highly suspicious of the idea this is legit and ask her a ton of questions about this. To prove she can send me a refund, she shows me the button on the website that has refund payment on it, and she sends me a screenshot of her location on a Maps app. I recognize the area and it's about 15 minutes away from where I live. At this point I'm thinking maybe I'll actually get to sleep with this person, and who knows? Maybe it'll be worth all the headache and money. I shower, get dressed, pack up and send her another $500, thinking we're going to drink wine together. She mentioned that on the phone, and fuck, and then that'll be that. I hop in my car and start driving roughly to the intersection she is closest to on the screenshot she shared, and I tell her I'm on my way. She then tells me I need to send an additional $350 to confirm the booking, and keeps saying, trust me, it's worth it. At this point, sunk cost fallacy is rearing its ugly head and I am in too deep. I jump through hoops trying to send money to her moderator, who apparently lives in the Philippines and is the last step to confirm the booking. I try 3 different money transfer sites and on the last one, the bank actually calls me directly to confirm it's not blackmail or suspicious. All 3 money sites cancel the transactions, unlike PayPal where the money went through every time. It's 4 a.m. at this fucking point, and I've spent hours haggling with this woman back and forth. I've been calling her relentlessly as well and she hasn't answered, saying she's on the phone with her moderator. I keep telling her, look, I've already paid to book you for the night, let's do the thing already. And she keeps responding with, no, just one more. It worth it. After jumping through the hoops of driving to 2 different, Western Union, store fronts, which are actually just gas station ATMs, I offer to just send more money on PayPal. She says okay, and then I'm exasperated. Clearly there is no moderator, clearly it was all a big scam. I drove home and told her she's a liar and a scam artist and that I hope she has fun scamming more lonely men. I can't believe I wasted $1,000 and 5 hours of my time for absolutely nothing. She sent me 2 partial nudes after all of that. So I suppose it wasn't all for nothing, just close to it. My question now is there any way I can report her on PayPal? I know PayPal doesn't allow transactions that are sexual in nature, so I'm unsure if I can report it. Also, if I were to report it, I have no idea how to do so, since I was consenting in the sexual transactions. I think I'm just absolutely fucked in this case, but I'm unsure. I thought about reporting the payments as false, but again, I don't have much a leg to stand on. Too long did not read. Over the course of 5 hours a camgirl convinced me to send her hundreds of dollars with the promise of sex with her as the carrot at the end of the stick. It obviously never happened and the most I got out of the interaction was a couple's semi-nude photos. Jesus dude, this is the oldest trick in the book. Who thought you internet safety? For $380, I will teach you to never fall for an internet scum again. It's worth it. Go on r/scams and read hundreds of posts just like yours. And no, you're not getting your money back. Call it a life lesson and move on. Dispute the charges. Don't be honest and give this whole story to them, just tell them you don't recognize the charges. Will you learn now? Today I fucked up by stealing my daughter's chocolate and blaming a leprechaun. So this happened today and I'm not exactly proud of it. But I'm pretty sure I'm not the only parent who has secretly eaten one of their kids' candies and then played dumb. My daughters got these small boxes of chocolates for Easter. I have a split custody arrangement, so they're with me for half the week and then go to their moms. While they were away, I partook of some grown-up candies and soon craved snacks. That's when I spotted my daughter's chocolate. My 10-year-old hadn't opened hers yet, so that was a no-go. But my 4-year-old had already eaten 2 and left 1 dark chocolate and 1 milk chocolate piece behind. She seemed to have forgotten about it, instead going for chocolates from Easter eggs that she refused to call kisses, because they're chocolates, not kisses. She can be quite stubborn. As much as I don't believe in the superstitions, I'm told all the time that it's appropriate that she's a redhead. Fast forward to when the girls returned from their mom's place today. After dinner, my 4-year-old asked for dessert. I showed her the treat basket, and she immediately grabbed her box of chocolates. She opened it and frowned. Where's my other chocolate? I had 2 but now there's only 1. Feigning ignorance, I asked if she wanted something else. But as I mentioned earlier, my little one is as stubborn as they come. Suddenly, she gasped and exclaimed, I know. A leprechaun stole it. I have no idea where she picked up the leprechaun idea, but it must have been some lingering St. Patrick's Day lore. So, to avoid admitting my guilt, we set up a trap for the leprechaun, using the top of the chocolate box, decorated with hieroglyphics, by my 4-year-old that she insisted were irresistible to leprechauns. We also added tape to catch the thief in our sticky trap. Now, I'm stuck in this ridiculous charade, hoping she'll forget about it. But considering she didn't forget about the chocolate, I shouldn't get my hopes up. I might even have to buy a little leprechaun figure to keep this going. Too long did not read. I ate my 4-year-old's chocolate and ended up creating a leprechaun trap to avoid owning up to my mistake. Now I'm stuck maintaining this ruse with no end in sight. Update. She just came into my office and said in an excited whisper, "The leprechaun is here." She's supposed to be in bed, but my guilt made me go up with her to check. Alas, no leprechaun. She asked if, since we were up there, she could have a piece of candy. At this point, I'm not positive she doesn't just know what's up and is making me pay for it. Ha 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 ha. This is hilarious. Leave some green glitter and chocolate coins on the trap for her and it will be all better. Grin. Have the leprechaun leave an apology note with chocolate for both kids and that he is too scared of being trapped to ever come back. Sees a midget at the grocery store, well. Look who we have here. A chocolate thief. Goes into toddler freak strength rage. Find a small pot and fill it with golden chocolate coins and say the leprechaun must have left it there as an apology. You should watch the movie Leprechaun with her and tell her it's not so wise to fool with a leprechaun. Don't worry, the nightmares should end after a few years. Today I fucked up by being new to the Catholic Church, and therefore getting slapped. This weird thing happened back in like 2008, I believe. It was a while ago, but I was telling a friend at work the craziest thing that happened to me at church. At the Catholic Church, a church I joined to be equally yoked with my wife, I found so many things that people did just downright bizarre. People were taking their fingers and hands and putting them in little water dishes they are bowing weirdly at odd times. They're doing all sorts of things I've never seen before. It's not like my wife didn't prep me. She totally did. There was even special names for all of these weird things everyone was doing. So anyway, I find myself sitting on an aisle seat, next to my entire family. Well, my immediate. I didn't really pay attention to people. My wife says it's not nice to stare. But all of a sudden an older lady approaches our aisle, turns abruptly toward me and starts falling. I thought she was either tripping, or worse, a heart attack or stroke. I'm ex-military, and even though it's not like we're trained to save the day, we're totally trained to save the day. If a civilian is in trouble, we take care of what needs taking care of. As she was falling, I yelled, "Gotcha," as in, I got you, so she didn't fall anymore. All of a sudden this lady starts slapping me, hard and repeatedly, Honda style, and my whole family was in disbelief. Even my laughing 8-year-old. Like there was a HMMMMHAAAHNMMHAAAHUAAAAHHHH song playing and it stopped. Everyone, my wife included, started yelling and my wife said that word I forgot about, I guess, genuflecting. Now in my defense, I knew that people bowed when they came into church to show Jesus some GD respect. But this lady bowed so quickly, so abruptly, with a genuine look of pain, that I in no way thought it was that one knee bow that is genuflecting. The lady changed her mind on what aisle and walked away to another aisle and then genuflected like everyone else was. She even yelled to me, "Is that better?" Well, her eyes said that. Anyway. The rest of the service I couldn't look at anyone without receiving a scowl. My wife literally held her head in shame, and each of my kids could not stop laughing, which didn't help or standing with the rest of the congregation. We seriously had to go to another parish. Till this day my 8-year-old, who is now in his 20s, occasionally grabs me and yells, "Gotcha," while grabbing me. Sorry cuz mobile. Sorry cuz iPhone -6. Too long did not read. I helped an old lady that didn't need help and got Honda slapped. Catholicism is an extremely inviting and accepting religion, every Catholic who has had that beaten into them. I am a Lutheran, and right after we were first married, my wife's aunt took us to her Pentecostal church. Well, halfway through the service a kid jumped up, fell on the floor and started rolling around. I jump up and yell, "Call a doctor." People grab me and say, "It's all right, he is in the spirit." I reply, "He's too young to drink." My wife's aunt never asked us to go again. I just read this as today I fucked up by going to church. Slapped by an old lady? That's my kink. Wow. You must love your wife a whole lot.